Okay, we're going to start. Good evening. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Waterville City Council. If anybody would like an agenda, they are in the plastic sleeve on the wall out back. And before we get too far, I am going to ask Chairman Stubbert to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item on the agenda, as always, is community notes. Community notes is a time where if anybody has something they would like to tell us about or would like to say, that is not already slated on the agenda for discussion tonight. Now is the time to talk about it, and we would just ask that you step up to the podium and let us know who you are and what it is you have to say. Is there anybody who has anything for community notes? No. Okay. Sydney.
Yeah, just a few things. I want to update everybody on where we are on the business-friendly certification process that was put on hold back in March. In correspondence with Denise Garland, the Deputy Commissioner of the Maine Department of Economic Community Development, the finishing touches on the new application process will be drawing to a close by the end of this month. We will then receive the materials we need to start a new one, proceeding to achieve the certification and apply the work that has already been accomplished by Mid-Maine Chamber of Commerce President Kim Linloff and City Manager Mike Roy. Committee meetings will soon be planned back on the agenda, hopefully by midsummer, to start completing the status the city is in desperate need of. On another note, I attended the planning board meeting last night in support of Dr. Gerald Hurdle's application process to rezone the Kennedy Memorial Drive property where Al Weeks Auto Body used to be. It was a long drawn-out affair that had the doctor discouraged from a standpoint that he is trying to become a significant city taxpayer and bring a car wash business that will help brighten up one of the gateway entrances into our fine city and provide needed competition with other vendors in the area. I attended this vastly because I am committed to new businesses and furthering the path we all need to be thinking on economic development as a whole. Dr. Hurdle's application and business is but just one example of how we as a council should come together and recognize the need to further expand our tax base and provide a sound business-friendly environment atmosphere for them to invest in without the perception of having to go through a series of obstacle courses to reach their final destination in helping bring prosperity into our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sydney. Is there anybody else who would have anything for community notes? Going once, going twice. Next up will be the consent agenda. Is there a motion to pass the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay. No discussion. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Okay. And I just want to bring this up on the front end. We have the municipal budget as almost first on the agenda. I assume there could be quite a bit of discussion on that. I don't know if we want to, if the council would wish to.
Well, I was going to suggest we move that to the last item on under new business.
Yeah.
Get the other new business out of the way first.
That's good. Any objections?
Move it to the end of
New business.
new business.
Thanks, Fred.
End of new business?
Yes, it is under new business. This is the first reading.
So is that a motion?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. First, under unfinished business, is Order 762015.
Move to read by title only.
Second.
All those in favor?
An order providing for approval of forfeiture.
Move to adopt?
Second.
All those in favor?
Anybody want to take a third reading?
Motion to take a third reading
By,
by title only.
Second.
all those in favor?
An order providing for approval of forfeiture.
Move to adopt?
Second.
All those in favor?
Roll call.
Roll
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 call.
call.
Counselor Stubbert?
Yes?
Counselor White?
Yes.
Counselor Winslow?
Yes.
Counselor Mayu?
Yes.
Counselor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Counselor Boucher?
Yes.
Counselor Rancourt Thomas?
Yes.
The vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Okay, next we'll go to ordinance 782015.
An ordinance providing for amendment to zoning Article 2, Section 2.1.1. Be it
Move to read by
enacted.
title only.
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor? Is there a motion for a third and final reading by title?
This is the second reading, so now we need to move to adopt.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All those in favor?
Move to take the third and final reading by title only.
Second.
All those in favor?
An ordinance providing for amendment to zoning Article 2, Section 2.1.1.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Roll call.
Counselor Stebbert?
Yes.
Counselor White?
Yes.
Counselor Winslow?
Yes.
Counselor Mayhew?
Yes.
Counselor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Counselor Boucher?
Yes.
Counselor Rankwood Thomas?
Yes.
The vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Next will be order 792015.
An order providing
Move to
for...
read by title only.
Second.
All those in favor?
An order providing for acceptance and appropriation of 2015 Burn Justice Assistance Grant.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All those in favor?
Move to take the third and final reading by title only.
Second.
All those in favor?
An order providing for acceptance and appropriation of 2015 Burn Justice Assistance Grant.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Can I get a roll call?
Counselor Stebbert?
Yes.
Counselor White?
Yes.
Counselor Winslow?
Yes.
Counselor Mayhew?
Yes.
Counselor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Counselor Boucher?
Yes.
Counselor Rankwood Thomas?
Yes.
The vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
All right, we'll move on to new business. First is Resolution 822015.
A resolution providing for amendment to resolution number 65-2015, Solid Waste Committee. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows, that resolution number 65-2015 be amended to add one more member to the Municipal Solid Waste Committee as shown on the attached.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All those in favor?
Where'd Mike go?
Opposed?
Jill?
No, I'm not opposed, sorry. I just have a question. Did we skip 8-1?
We got that in our packet.
Yeah, we
but
got an
it's
8-1 in
not
our
on
packet, but it's
this.
not on the agenda.
Yeah.
And it's for the renewal of liquor licenses, blah, blah, in the,
That's actually on the consent agenda.
Yeah, that was something from last week, wasn't it?
Okay.
No, it's on this consent agenda. It's part of the consent agenda.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
so we don't need to do this separately?
No,
Okay,
because it was
I just wanted to
lumped
make
in
sure
with
we hadn't
consent.
skipped something. All
Nope,
right.
you're all set. Thank you.
Um,
All right. Fred?
I know we've taken a vote, but Mike was out of the room. I had a question for Mike on this
Oh,
issue.
Solid Waste Committee.
Solid Waste Committee?
Yep. Who's the person you added, Mike? You added somebody?
Todd
Todd Martin.
Todd, okay.
Yep, yep,
He lives in Waterville?
yes he does. Yep, and I think he'd be a valuable member of the group.
Okay, great.
We need as many people participating as
sure.
we can.
Sure.
So that when we get to the point, the city council gets to the point of having to take a vote a year and a half from now about what's our best option for solid waste in the future, as many people as possible need to understand what the choices are. So I think getting as many people involved is really key.
Thank you.
Next is Resolution 832015.
A resolution providing for acceptance of a proposal for copier services. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows, that the City Council accepts the low bid proposal from A Copy for a 60-month municipal lease copier equipment at a cost of $784 per month. Cost per copy for black and white copies will be .0039 cents, and a cost per copy for color will be 4 cents.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? Mike?
Well, I did want to thank Josh Grant, our IT director, for coordinating the whole bid process. There's really a very substantial savings going forward, and Josh worked with all the different companies on putting together bids, so even though we're keeping the same vendor, right? it's really going to be a big savings for us on a monthly basis going forward.
Didn't it end up to be like a $16,000 change in our budget?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good work, John.
good work.
Nice work, John.
You gotta draw faster to make those copies now.
Is this, how long is this contract good for? I guess
60 month.
which is the same as the last one?
That's good.
All those in favor? Opposed? Next, Resolution 842015.
A resolution providing for authorizing the issuance of a liquor license to Temple Street Tavern S Corp., doing business as Temple Street Tavern. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows, that the City Council hereby authorize the issuance of a liquor license to Temple Street Tavern S Corp., doing business as Temple Street Tavern, 17 Temple Street.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Fred?
Is anyone here from that organization?
I don't think so.
Do we know whether anything's going to change other than the name?
I don't think so. I think it's the management is changing,
Right.
and the name,
It's
but other than
family.
that,
It's still the same family.
correct, still the same family running it. Of course, this is a bobbin we're talking about, and the new name is going to be Temple Street Tavern. And I know we did check with the chief before tonight regarding, problems, complaints about disturbances, and really there hasn't been anything to the point where we would come to you and say
Right.
we should consider withholding anything, so,
Okay.
yep, we recommend approval.
Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of passing? Next, I guess, is Resolution 852015.
A resolution providing for authorizing the issuance of a special amusement license to Temple Street Tavern S Corp., doing business as Temple Street Tavern. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows, that the City Council hereby authorize the issuance of a special amusement license to Temple Street Tavern S Corp., doing business as Temple Street Tavern, 17 Temple Street.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All those in favor? Resolution 862015.
A resolution providing for authorizing the issuance of a victualer's license to Temple Street Tavern S Corp., doing business as Temple Street Tavern. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows, that the City Council hereby authorize the issuance of a victualer's license to Temple Street Tavern S Corp., doing business as Temple Street Tavern, 17 Temple Street.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All those in favor? Resolution 872015.
A resolution providing for authorizing issuance of an innkeeper's license to VR Realty LLC, doing business as Place to Call Home. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows, that the City Council hereby authorize the issuance of an innkeeper's license to VR Realty LLC, doing business as Place to Call Home, 222 Main Street.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All those in favor? Oh, Fred, you
Well,
had
let's
something?
have some questions.
Is there somebody here from?
Right.
This is your chance to advertise.
Thank you. The inn is going to be basically 3 rooms for rent by the week for people that are in transition. Or
Okay.
somebody who just needs a place for a short term. It's right on Main Street, the old Dan Duward's building.
Which building is it?
What
The
building?
brick building that Dan Duward used to be in, the legal office.
By Kendrick Savings?
Yeah, 2 or 3 down from there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
next to the catering hall. Now currently do business as Rita's Catering. Used to be Flo's. Next to Rite Aid.
Oh, the house.
Yeah, the house.
The house.
Yeah, the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the catering isn't there anymore?
The catering is there, that's 220.
Yes.
222
Oh,
is
you're
the
right
next one over.
Okay.
That's where we'll have some rooms. There's a couple of apartments in there as well, but there'll be 3 rooms available.
When you go on the Realty website and you get a nice view of what the inside is all about.
We can do that.
Yeah, well, it was
Oh, really?
nice.
Oh, was it? Okay.
It's on the website.
It is, okay.
Yeah.
Probably a beautiful building inside.
It is very
Yeah.
nice inside, yep.
And you said it's going to be rented by the week?
Yep. Short-term rentals.
Short-term.
Short-term rentals, yep. So people that are in transition, I actually had interest from like traveling nurses and, from across the street from Main General. People that are here for like 1 week and then they're off for a week, or hopefully that will work. It's been vacant, so I need to create
Good
some revenue
location.
there.
Well, good luck.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Just as long as they don't rent.
All those in favor of passing? Resolution 882015.
A resolution providing for ratification of collective bargaining agreement, commanding officers unit. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows, that the City Council ratify a collective bargaining agreement for 3 years entered into between the City of Waterville and Maine Association of Police, effective July 1, 2015 through June 30, 2018, for the commanding officers unit.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion on this?
Mike, the way,
Yeah.
the quick answer to the question is 2%, 2%, 2.5, right?
Right.
Has anybody read, can I just ask, anybody read the contract?
I
Over here?
I started to read through the things that were underlined that I felt must have been the
Summarize it.
changes, the
Mike?
You're correct on the increases. I do want to mention that the city was able to negotiate a reduction in the health insurance plan. So we moved from an expensive plan, well, a good plan, to a less expensive plan. That took some negotiating. We did get that done. Other than that, there really weren't a lot of other big changes, really.
How many people in this group, Mike?
There are two contracts, two police contracts. The first one is the commanding officers, which is the contract for the 6 sergeants. So 6 members in this commanding officer unit. The next item on your agenda is for all the patrol officers and the detectives, and there are 35 patrol officers, detectives, close to that.
There would be 26, no, 24.
I'm sorry, 24. Oh, I was including, sorry, okay. Okay, 24 in the next bargaining unit.
And there's no steps in the commanding officer unit, but there is steps in the patrol officer, is that correct?
For the first 5 years, I think at one time I said 6 years, but I believe it's the first 5 years. For someone new coming in, correct, there are steps. After the 5th year, the steps end, and then there is a longevity provision after 10 years.
Any other discussion on this? Okay, all those in favor? Resolution 892015.
A resolution providing for ratification of collective bargaining agreement, patrol officers unit. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows, that the City Council ratify a collective bargaining agreement for 3 years entered into between the City of Waterville and the Maine Association of Police, effective July 1, 2015 through June 30, 2018, for the patrol officers unit.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All those in favor? Resolution 902015.
A resolution providing for canvassing of votes and determination of the result of the special municipal election held on June 9, 2015. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows, that the City Council, acting as the canvassing board for the canvassing of the votes and the determination of the result of the special municipal election held on Tuesday, June 9, 2015, received and examined the returns as follows. Yes, 688, no, 1338, for a total of 2,026.
Move to adopt.
second.
Fred?
Patty, how did the turnout compare to the last June election?
I didn't do a direct comparison to last June. But typically, June elections are relatively slow. If there's a presidential primary election, June can get around 23%-ish. For just school budget elections, it's like 5%. So this was a pretty good turnout for just one question June
That's what I
election.
thought.
And it's around 17-ish%.
Yep.
Yep,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Just to reaffirm that piece, it was interesting when I ran into, I was in City Hall a little after 12:30, 1:15, ran into our city clerk and said, "How are things going?" She said, "Well, I decided to print X number." She said, "I'm back here because I think we're getting a steady flow and I need to print another 400 ballots and bring those in," and everything was used.
Yeah.
So it was good.
I was trying
It's
to be
encouraging.
thrifty and not have a lot of extra ballots that I had to just, you
Yeah.
know,
It was,
throw
that's
away.
a nice
So I printed
piece.
1,000 and then we were going through them, so I printed a couple hundred at a time. And so I ended up with a little over 2,000 ballots. So
That's all
I was
right.
busy that afternoon.
Good. That's a positive.
If I may, I'd just like to recognize the Parks and Rec staff, Public Works, staff in the clerk's office, the election officials that are part-time people, retirees that come and help and work the polls. We counted those 2,000 ballots by hand in about 15 minutes. So it was a great crew, and I also thank the IT staff. They try to make me look good putting things on the web. So thank you to everyone.
Okay, so we're now back up to the budget order.
Did we vote on this?
No, we haven't
We did?
voted.
All those in favor?
Thank you.
Order 772015.
You want me to read the whole thing again?
No.
Move to read by title only.
Right.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
An order providing for appropriation of municipal and school operating budgets for the period of July 1, 2015 through June 30th, 2016.
Move to adopt.
Second.
I'm going to ask Chuck, our finance director, to come up and help me. We do have some extra copies. One page, this page, single sheet, is an explanation of all the changes, and this is an actual copy of the budget order. So I'm going to put them here. There are only 10 of each, so
Mike, how should we handle the amendments to this? Do you want to explain them first, or should we just make the amendments?
Can we just amend all the changes that were made by the
the
finance
amount
committee?
in the order itself includes all of these changes. So I think it should
But it's
be amount,
different.
and then we can,
But I appreciate
I think I'd rather ask questions. Who has questions? We can go over this one sheet,
it. Oh, absolutely.
show the changes.
So the new budget. you
Right,
said-
but should we amend them, should we propose them as amendments first before we go over them?
Don't need to.
It's all changed.
But it's a change over the last time.
I'm sorry, Frank. You do need to, of course.
Yes,
I got you.
that's what I thought.
Yeah, you do need to. And, yeah, I don't know if you want to do it at the beginning or wait till we do the changes.
So we do it now.
Mike,
Yep.
if I may,
Go ahead, make a motion.
we probably want to move to amend, substitute this version, and they can discuss all these changes.
This committee probably should.
Yeah, move to amend to substitute this order by the one that you have.
We already had in our, yeah.
Okay. I move to amend the old budget for the one that we have updated.
It's the white copy.
Oh, the white copy is the one we have updated.
Yeah, the white is the most,
Okay.
And that is the one that includes the final emails today, .51.
Yes.
That's where we're at with the
Yes.
first vote.
So there's a motion.
.5.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor
Yep,
of amendment?
That's just the motion, and now you can talk about the amendment before you vote on it.
so we're talking about the white sheet budget order. And the finance committee met last week, and since that meeting, there have been a couple of changes, all for the good in terms of the tax rate. So we were able to reduce even from what the Finance Committee talked about last week. And so the proposal in front of you tonight is for a $0.5 mil increase on the current tax rate, 27.4 to 27.9. And this single sheet explains all the changes, reduction in expenses, increases in revenue. The school numbers, Mr. Haley, I know, is going over with his school board tomorrow morning at 7:30 to inform them of what it looks like. So he wanted me to at least mention that he's meeting with his board tomorrow. Of course, the council makes final decision.
But he did talk to you, Chuck, and I this morning.
This
and
morning.
Gave us, these are numbers that are good to go with.
The 208,838 number that you see on the single sheet, that's the number that we got from Eric this morning, along with the increase in school revenues. So it's certainly
That's good.
a much better picture than it looked a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Far more. I mean, coming down from 2.5+ mils is, getting it down to $0.5 mil is definitely a step in the right direction.
And I think something that's important to point out is that on the city side, we actually have got our expenses to less than last year. We're taking a whole lot less money out of our surplus. On the city side, that doesn't include the school, so I'll point that out. But I think that was
key.
That was some good work.
Although it looks like we're now using somewhere in the area of what? $1 million of our surplus, including the carryover from last year, or no?
Well, let's talk about that, because the use of surplus is very, very important.
It's not gonna last forever.
But we're maintaining that 12%.
Barely.
Right, and it's not going to last forever. So the 900 in surplus use is composed of, help me out, it's an expected savings in this budget year of $400,000. So we think in this budget year, which ends in 2 weeks, we will have spent less money than what was appropriated and taken in a little bit more revenue in other places. So the bottom line is, we think we're going to be $400,000 to the good.
To the better.
So that's part of the 900. Then there was 364.
That we started with. And then
That we started with the school.
School is also going to come in a couple $100,000 better. So
Right, so the school had set aside over 360,000.
Yeah.
They only used 94.
Okay.
But that's all part of the city 12%.
That's right.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's right.
So our surplus is now at that council adopted policy of 12% of the total budget.
And I used this year's budget to come up with the 12%. So if we actually come in under that on expenses, we'll actually be a little bit better than 12% in our annual report.
But you make a good point, it's not there forever. Hopefully next year.
And our lending people have told us we want to try to keep it at 12%. That's really what we've got to try to do.
That's right.
In writing.
No lower than 12%.
That's right. We've got to hold that. We have to hold to that policy.
Keep it higher.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
And I would be happy to answer any of the questions. One surprise in the last week was the, if you look under the revenue section, 1, 2, 3, 4th line down, the increase in the FERC refund, $50,750. That was an item that you didn't know about when we met as a finance committee a week ago.
Yeah, we saw in Chuck's email. You guys
Right.
recalculated that amount?
Yeah.
Well, what we had forgotten about is the fact that trash that goes through the airport road transfer station, that the city does not pick up. So commercial trash that goes to the airport road transfer station, trash from large residential buildings that goes there, gets recorded as Waterville trash. And so when it ends up at PERC, we get a rebate on all that per ton trash. So it amounts to a very substantial number, as you can see.
Yeah. Which was
And when we did our original calculations on revenue, we forgot about that component that goes through that transfer station. Another big change, well again, we did find additional money in the IT section, so we've told Winslow and Oakland that our fees, or their fees to us for IT services are going to need to be adjusted upward. So we've worked with them on that.
Has that been okay? Has that been received okay? They haven't been,
Well,
no
so
one-
far.
No one's too happy. One thing we ought to know, especially for my friends in Seton Village, we decided not to cut out the KV van money, correct?
Right, I think that's an important point, because I know I received a lot of emails, I know the mayor did, about the bus service,
Probably
counselors
everybody did.
Everyone
did. So that 6,100 is back in the budget, it's not a cut.
And that just goes to show that if you are a resident and you have issue with the budget and you come to the budget meeting and you hear something that you don't like, call your counselor, email your mayor, talk to your city manager, because your voice was heard loud and clear that that system is being used and very important for Waterville. So I'm thankful that it's back in the budget.
Another really big change is the elimination of the code assistant, code enforcement officer position, something we had talked about for months. Again, the council's position was, if we're going to, or the finance committee's position was, and I know the mayor agrees with this, if we're going to have a tax increase, we should do the best to hold the line on new positions. This was a new position, to be a new position. But the city's expenses, as you said, going forward is less than our current year.
Right.
So, and then this is the first vote tonight, right? So this is the first vote. There will be 2 more votes, which actually we are not scheduling now. I think we.
Well, we have to do it before July.
Well,
No,
I
we-
think that's going to be up to the council. But I think what we discussed was potentially we don't. The problem is we don't have the final numbers from the state, because obviously the state has not completed their budget. So if those numbers come in before June, I think we would probably call a special meeting the last week of June to just get it done. If not, that would get pushed to the first week of July. Fred?
I just wanted to comment, as you did, that this is the first reading. There are 2 more readings of this budget. These numbers certainly look better than the numbers that you all heard of 2 weeks ago, but also 2 weeks ago.
It's actually been out there for 3 months.
It's been out there quite a while. And these aren't the final numbers. There may very well be some improvements in these numbers if the revenue picture changes and if we find something else as we scrutinize the budget. But you can be sure it's not going to get any worse than this. This is probably the worst it's going to be.
And we still welcome public input. It's an important, I mean, we still have weeks to talk about it, and tonight we can talk about it. I know we talked last week. Sydney?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate and commend the finance committee and the entire council and Chuck and the accounting department and Mike Roy and the rest for coming up with this initial budget for the first reading. I think it's a good, healthy place to start. I think we are waiting, like Fred said and the mayor said, for final numbers from the state. The state of Maine is, as you know from all the media, is embroiled in a legislative slugfest to try to come up with some kind of budget. So it's affecting the reading from them to us as far as exactly where the numbers are going to fall. This is only the first reading, and I want to reiterate that there is still room and possibility for us to find even more cuts or find state subsidy money that, that is going to come in probably more so in the schools than we know about right now, and different other items on the budget that will still continue to look at to try to even possibly be down below $500,000. But I believe this is definitely a positive step in the right direction for taxpayers. I've been vocal about not only my ward, but for the entire city, and I know all the councils are on board with giving some kind of property tax relief to our constituents, because that has to be the priority for the city of Waterville and increase revenue to the city and economic development to try to increase our tax base. So you know, that's basically where we stand for this first reading, and it's a good first step.
Anyone who wants to speak to the budget, they can.
Yeah,
go
feel free to
to-
come up
to
and
the
let us know who
podium.
you are.
There's a question there.
I just had a question. If we wait until the 7th, which would be the first Tuesday of July, would we only vote then a second time and then it would go forward? Because our
Second
new
and third
charter would
reading.
take
Charter,
place,
too.
we wouldn't need that third vote?
No, I think since you took your first vote, within the bill still here?
No.
Bill's not here, but I would think it would need the.
Yeah, we have.
So we would still
It
do
would need a third vote because you
Okay.
started within the old charter rules.
All right, so we would need a,
Right.
okay.
It was embroiled in the old charter.
So you can do the 2 readings on the 7th.
Same,
You can do
exactly.
2 readings the same night.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I know that the state budget went before the full legislature this afternoon. So it may well be that they'll have that budget thing resolved long before July 7th, so,
But will it have a 2/3 majority?
no comment. So maybe, and the governor, I guess, does have 10 days to veto, so that would put it into July, yeah. Close to July.
Correct.
So do we need to forward this to a date certain, the next vote, or would we do that at the next meeting?
But it automatically goes to the next meeting unless you call a special meeting.
Okay.
Right.
Yep, that's fine.
Is that a quick question? I'm trying to get involved in things.
Tell us who you are.
Chris Raincourt, Cherry Hill Terrace. The trash bag money, how
Yep.
much of a surplus is that a year?
It's about $300,000.
And that'll go into the surplus, is that figured
Well,
into?
that's actually already figured into the revenue going against this budget. If you look at the full budget on the income side,
So is that money gonna get used on this coming budget?
yes,
And are we still above the 12% using that money?
yes,
Okay.
yep.
Yep.
This budget would look really, really different if the pay-as-you-throw money wasn't in here.
Yes, sir, tell us who you are.
My name's Kelly Lynn. I live at 23 Kelsey Street in Waterville, Maine. Last week, I was here at your city council meeting, and I was not too happy when I heard about the $2.50 a mil increase.
You yelled at us, didn't you?
Yeah, I was unhappy. So I asked for the budget. I got it. I've gone over it. I have a few questions. You don't have to answer them. I'm just going to tell you what I think. School budget, that's a secret. No one gets that.
I got it, I'll share it with you.
Yeah, well, I couldn't. He's going to try to work for it. I've been down to the city clerk's office, and they're going to try to get it.
Wait, that's an important thing to say. You mean you can't get it? That's public information.
Well, it's not online.
You're right, it's not. It's extreme, you have to jump through hoops, but...
Yeah, down City Hall does. You guys don't have it downstairs. Because all I got was a little piece of paper
Well, I can
here.
tell you, I got my copy, but it took me
Well,
about 4 weeks of asking
Mr. Roy
for
must
it.
have got his, and you must have got yours, but I don't see anyone in the public getting theirs.
Well, it took me 4 weeks of asking for it, so
Okay.
we'll
Well,
get you a
got more power
copy.
than I have.
We'll get you a copy.
I'll give you mine tomorrow.
Well, I just looked at it, and the only thing on the school budget I have to say is the factor that within 2 years, the budget's gone up a little over $1 million. Are we losing kids in this school? Why is the budget going up over $1 million for the school budget?
You have to ask Mr. Haley.
I know. You
Yeah.
can't,
We-
so you don't know. That's all I'm
We
gonna
are.
do.
I can tell you a piece of that, the rest of that, well, actually, I can probably venture to guess most of that. There is some of it on the revenue side. We, this year, are paying $300,000 more than we've not paid in the past in teacher retirement, because that was...
The MR, Maine
Yep.
State, I saw that. Maine
Yep,
State retirement's up real high.
And the state
Your
did...
health insurance
the
is up real.
state, the state did increase the required mill rate contribution from local towns this year as well. But don't forget that most of the school budget is in personnel, and there was a broad 3% increase in pay that also went to 11 administrators in their contracts as well. So I would assume that probably made
Yeah,
up a lot
that
of
shows up, the same thing I have in your municipal. The things that went up the worst was your employees, you have to give them a raise, that's fine then. The affordable health care, that's out of sight. Anybody that runs a business around here, has more than 50 employees, you know how bad it is.
Absolutely.
Because I have 1,200. Okay, I'm going to start off with your revenue. Maybe I'm far off and everything, but you, so far up to 28 February, you've gained $14,400,000 on your revenue. Estimating that you get $4.8 million every quarter on revenue coming into the state, that's $19,240,000. I'm just saying, that's all it looks like. Okay?
It's in the Swiss bank.
Okay.
That's the school revenue.
No, that's your,
Could Mike or Chuck try to
You're
speak to
wrong
this?
about
Because
that.
I'm wrong?
we
Okay,
could
so
work
in other
through
words,
this.
since February 28th, you have not, the city has not brought in $14.4 million.
If there's a breakdown there,
It's a breakdown, that's what it says you brought in.
okay, so
So what, you got 1 quarter left.
what's your point?
The point is, you're bringing in more revenue than we need to spend. Then what you got is, next year, you're $387,000. No, you people budgeted $17,200,000.
Yep.
Your revenue is 380, if you bring in the 4.8 million in the next quarter, because every quarter you're gonna bring in so much money, correct? Or
Chuck,
Can I just?
Chuck is our finance
100%
director.
of the property tax revenue is already recorded.
Okay, so it's gone.
Right, that's not on a cash basis, that's on when the bills go out, we record that, and then year end, we adjust for anything that's not collected.
So the last quarter, you don't get much money.
We get cash in the door, but we've already recorded that, because it's a receivable. We
Okay,
record it,
you're-
okay?
Yeah, I know you're,
Yeah, we record that as a receivable when we send the tax bills out.
okay.
And then at the end of the year, whatever's not collected, we have to reduce that money, because we only get a report of what's collected.
So in other words, your revenue for this year is gonna be just a little bit more than $14 million or something.
From property taxes.
Yeah.
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 Probably.
And are you including the school expenditures there?
No, I am not touching the school, no, I got nothing here. So this is just your budget. The next thing I'm gonna get into the expenses. Administrative expenses. These people are doing real well. You gotta give them credit, they're really working hard. Okay, they have spent so far $157,900 on their budget. Now, that's just up till the 28th. Now, are we playing figures with this figure too?
Now, I don't want you to say,
Okay,
I take offense to playing.
Yeah, okay.
That's good accounting, the way I do the accounting.
Okay.
Right,
That's not playing.
right, we do pass with certified public accountants.
Yeah.
We're audited
So I
every
think
year.
we should get another, they should spend about another $52,000 at the rate they're spending.
Well, not everything is spent equally throughout the year, too.
Okay?
And some stuff is quarterly, some stuff might be monthly. There are things that we spend, we have an annual amount that we pay up front, or we don't pay till the end of the year. So
Okay,
not
then
everything is spread evenly through 12 months.
really, this thing is useless. Because I'm just estimating, okay, if you take in another $52,000, that's $210,000. The city council budget is $228,000, that's $18,000 over. But I guess you don't,
Well, I do want to just interject here, because I guess I do take a little offense that we have had public budget meetings going on
Yeah.
since February, and I don't know that it's necessarily fair to come in the week before that it's voted on and
no, it's
just
just,
start
now,
tearing people
you
apart.
talked to us tonight, and you see where you dropped it from the 2.5 down to
But
half
if you
a
were,
point.
but if you were here last week, you would have
I was
heard.
here last week.
Right, and you would have heard that I had already suggested $1.2 million of those cuts. What we chose last week was not to actually vote on them, but to get them through the finance committee, because there was some unsurety of making sure that the council that had been communicated to the council.
And we
So-
assured you that it was not going to be a 2.5 mil increase. We agreed on that. We just hadn't finalized.
I mean, it's unfortunate that it's like a first draft. We get a budget from the city manager,
Right, that's
from the
literally the
school
first draft.
board. It's
Yeah,
a first.
I see that, because it was
It's a
not good
first
what I was looking
draft,
at.
and we've gone through so many edits, and we've been meeting almost every Tuesday since February, and asking the public to come into the meetings, and we've had every department head come in and talk about their side of the budget. We've gone back and forth.
We've had a
Nick
lot
and I
of-
have
we've
met
had a
with
lot
the
of-
school
that's right.
board. You know, I mean, we've been meeting and meeting and meeting, and so,
But how many people from the public have showed up?
Anybody that wanted to?
I just asked that.
There was 2 people here that were there every.
We can only do so much to get them
I
to
know,
show
yeah.
up. You know,
This is the first time I heard about it, was when I saw in the paper it was gonna go up to 2.5.
okay, that was a first draft, and unfortunately, I think people need to understand that we have to have a starting point, and that was a starting point that we had. We asked every department head, we asked the library, we asked the school board to give us what they would like to be their budget. The city manager proposed what he thought, and then it's up to the council and to the finance committee to research and go through that. And we've been doing that since February, and we're exhausted. So excuse us if kind of your tone is a little harsh, because we've been asking for input, and we've had great dialogue, I think, and we heard you, and I think the mayor and councilors have gone above and beyond really trying to work this, and that's why it's down to 0.5.
But why was this put out to the public?
Because that's a first draft. We were trying to be transparent.
That's the budget we've been meeting on week after week.
Would
I
you
hear what you're
rather
saying.
us
I just don't
get
want it to be, I just want to make sure you know that, like, this wasn't just thrown at you last week. So in the future, that come February, we're going to have a budget out there, and there's a long process. I know it's been reported in the papers a lot. And we have been begging. I think I've said it a couple of the pay-as-you-throw trash meetings. I mean, I cannot beg people to come into these meetings other than a couple of people that I see out here who come religiously, but...
Okay, then I apologize
No,
for
we
this,
still
but I
welcome the
saw
input,
this.
but-
I went home, spent 4 hours on this. I was not a happy camper.
Now, that said, if you want to go through line-by-line detail, we can still do that.
Well, there's no sense if you've done what I saw there and he's cut down, there's just, a lot of it is Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act and your MRS, the state retirement thing.
Correct.
And that's where a lot of the increase is coming from.
And I can understand.
Well, at this point, for sure, yeah. Might not have been
Now you
before.
got 3 more weeks to our next meeting, so you can study that, and you can come in, we're all geared up and...
Who is your counselor anyway?
Mr.
Nate.
White.
Well, that's
It's
who you
your
need to
job
be
to meet
talking
with
and
him
yelling
and
at, right there.
Yeah, get him.
I am, as I said, I was here last week, the first time I ever met the man.
Well, his address is in the...
I'll give you a card if you would like one.
I don't want you to feel bad. I just don't want you to think that we're here just trying to ambush you when we've been talking about it for a long time. That's all.
No, that's all right, though, and I apologize for this, but if anybody else in this audience got a hold of this piece of paper and went through it the way I did, you'd be standing up here hollering too. Because
Yeah, and I can understand your anxiety about it because, I got phone calls, emails, just like yourself, and it's approved. The original budget I made a quote. I said it was an abomination. It definitely was. If I was looking at it, in any other way, that's exactly what I would call it. But there's been a lot of hard work. There's been a lot of meetings. There's been a lot of diligency on the part of the council and the accounting department, management, and this is really a blessing to have this budget in where it is right now, and there's still room for possible cuts. So, and that is still not off the table.
Okay, I apologize for
You don't need to.
blowing my stack, but like I said, I picked this up 3 days ago and I was not a happy camper.
Yeah, typically, the budget would have already been voted and passed by now. So, in prior years. So this is actually,
It's probably been a much better process.
I think we've taken our time and we've tabled it when we didn't feel comfortable tabling it, and we're not done yet. So, hang in there.
Yeah, right. Sure guy.
Well, I'd like the opportunity to just address one question, and that is, why did the original budget have to be a 2.5 mil increase? That upset a lot of people. I know you had calls saying I should be fired.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Well, the reason it had to be
calling me.
2.5 mil increase is that in last year's budget, we used 1.4 million in surplus. 1.4 million. Council has a standing policy that we can't use more than 12% of surplus. So when I got to finalizing the budget in February, I realized in order to stay with what the council said, 12%, there was only $360,000 left in surplus. So we went from 1.4 million in surplus to 364. When you subtract those two numbers, folks, you get close to 1.2 million. Our tax rate, our mill rate generates 650,000 for 1 mil. 650 times 2 is 1.3 million. There's 2 mills of taxes that we lost simply from one category, surplus.
Yep.
So now we've gone from 300 surplus proposed to 900.
Just
Now we've-
because of the final number. Because we don't tell our departments to run out and spend the rest of their budget by the end of
That
the year.
2.5 really was driven by one number, and that's the use of surplus.
And Mike, if the governor, in their budget, maintained what the statutory requirement is for revenue sharing, we would probably not have any money coming out of surplus.
Nope. If we got in revenue sharing what we should, it would be $942,000 in
So
revenue sharing.
we would use a little surplus.
That's how we built up the surplus in the first place.
That's how we built up our surplus, was through our revenue sharing
That's right.
funds, which are due us by law, but anyway, you're right. We wouldn't be in this predicament.
It's all right, it made us sharpen the pencils, didn't it? Are we going to take a first vote?
There's a vote on the amendment on the floor.
Oh, vote on the amendment, okay.
I know, we've,
So do we,
we
I thought we
passed
were
that.
gonna-
No, we haven't
You
voted on
decided
that
to
yet.
vote before you.
Nathaniel
had a
called
chance
for
to
the
talk
amendment,
about it. So.
Oh, yes, I
The
did.
amendment is on the floor. These amended numbers is what you'd be
Okay.
approving, and then you can move the item as amended for the first reading.
Okay.
Motion to adopt?
So is there a vote on the amendment? This white piece of
Okay,
paper?
so-
Yes, move
It
to
was-
adopt.
Move to adopt.
Okay.
Second.
So it's just,
All those in favor?
okay. Now you move it as amended. This will be the first reading.
move is amended?
Second.
All those in favor?
Okay. That's the first reading.
I have nothing under a manager's report, if that's where we're at.
It is.
Okay.
Nathaniel,
Amy, did you want a copy?
What's up?
make a move to adjourn.
Oh, motion to adjourn.